U.S. pours $163 million into key Pacific Range used for missile defense tests. Two separate contracts awarded within days of each other are pouring more than $163 million into the Reagan Test Site at Kwajalein Atoll, the remote Pacific Range, where the U.S. military tests ballistic missiles, tracks re-entry vehicles, and validates the interceptors designed to shoot them down. The more recent award, dated April 27, 2026, went to Range Generation Next LLC, a Sterling, Virginia-based contractor, in the form of a $14 million modification to an existing contract. The modification brings the total cumulative face value of that contract W9113M 23C0062 to $5,466 million, a figure that reflects years of sustained investment in keeping the Kwajalein Range operational. Work will be performed in Huntsville, Alabama, with a completion date of September 30, 2030. Army Contracting Command at Redstone Arsenal, operating under Space and Missile Defense Command, is the contracting activity. Fiscal 2026 research, development, test, and evaluation funds covered the full modification amount at time of award. The second contract, awarded earlier, is larger and more structurally significant. Radiance Technologies, also based in Huntsville, received a minimum $149,683,593 cost plus fixed fee contract to modernize Reagan Test Range infrastructure and instrumentation, a sole source 5-year award with a performance completion date of April 10, 2031, and no option periods. Defense Logistics Agency Aviation at Redstone Arsenal served as the contracting activity, with the work supporting both Army customers and federal civilian agencies that use the range. Together, these two awards tell a story about a facility that matters enormously to American strategic programs and that has been showing its age. The Reagan Test Site, situated on Kwajalein Atoll in the Marshall Islands, roughly 2,500 miles southwest of Hawaii, is the primary long-range ballistic missile test range for the United States. When the Army fires an intercontinental range target missile to test a ground-based mid-course defense interceptor, the target flies toward Kwajalein. When the Missile Defense Agency needs to validate a new kill vehicle's ability to discriminate warheads from decoys in the terminal phase, the sensors at Kwajalein do the watching. The range's radars, optical trackers, telemetry systems, and data networks are the instruments that turn a missile test into usable engineering and operational data. That instrumentation is what the Radiance Technologies contract targets, directly modernizing radar systems, telemetry receivers, optical sensors, and the data infrastructure connecting them. Is not glamorous work, but it is foundational. A test range is only as useful as its ability to observe what it's testing. If the sensors can't track a hypersonic re-entry vehicle accurately, or the telemetry system can't capture a full data set from a long-range intercept attempt, the test still happens, but the data that comes back is degraded or incomplete. At a facility where each test event can cost tens of millions of dollars to execute, instrumentation that fails to capture clean data is an expensive problem. The Radiance contract is aimed at preventing exactly that. Range Generation Next's continued support role under its modification covers the operational side, the sustained work of keeping the range running between and during test events. The Kwajalein Range operates continuously, supporting not just missile defense tests, but a range of space surveillance, radar calibration, and research activities. Sustaining that operational tempo requires a persistent workforce and a supply chain capable of maintaining specialized equipment in a remote island environment where logistics are inherently complicated. Huntsville, Alabama serves as the program management and support hub, even as the operational work happens thousands of miles away in the Pacific. The Huntsville connection runs through both contracts and reflects the concentration of missile defense program management in that city. Army Space and Missile Defense Command, the organization that owns the Reagan Test Site mission, is headquartered at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, alongside a dense ecosystem of defense contractors who support missile defense, space, and test range programs. Range Generation Next and Radiance Technologies both draw on that community, and both contracts flow through contracting activities at Redstone. The sole source nature of the Radiance Technologies award is worth understanding in context. Reagan Test Site instrumentation is highly specialized, deeply integrated, and tied to classified program requirements that limit the pool of contractors who have the clearances, the technical background, and the existing site knowledge to do the work competently. Sole source contracting in this environment reflects technical and security realities rather than a lack of competitive intent. What's happening at Kwajalein over the next 5 years is in essence a recapitalization of the United States' primary strategic test range in the Pacific at a moment when the threats those tests are designed to counter are growing faster than they have in decades. China's ballistic and hypersonic missile programs have expanded dramatically. North Korea continues developing longer-range systems. Russia has fielded new missile classes specifically designed to complicate mid-course intercept. The instruments at Kwajalein are how the U.S. military measures its ability to respond to all of it. More than $163 million committed across 2 contracts to one remote atoll in the Marshall Islands says something clear about how seriously the Pentagon is taking that measurement problem.